You think your ancestry is just a percentage on a DNA test, a little map, a few colorful regions, maybe something you casually bring up at dinner once a year before somebody argues over wine and family history. But your DNA is not a souvenir. It is a biological survival record written by people who survived environments that should have erased them completely. Long before medicine existed, your ancestors were being hunted by heat, starvation, parasites, freezing winters, brutal sunlight, collapsing ecosystems, and diseases that wiped out entire civilizations. And every time the human body encountered one of those threats, it changed. Slowly, quietly, over thousands of years. Evolution is not a theory you read in school. It is a pressure system, and your body is covered in fingerprints from battles you never saw. Right now, inside your blood, your bones, your metabolism, your skin, and your immune system, ancient survival mechanisms are still running in the background like hidden software. Most people never realize this. They think their traits are random. They think evolution stopped somewhere around the invention of Wi-Fi. It didn't. Your body still remembers the environments your ancestors barely escaped alive. And nowhere is that more obvious than Africa, because biologically, this is where the human story starts. Sub-Saharan African populations contain the deepest genetic library on Earth. Humanity began there, and every population that later migrated outward carried only fragments of that original biological blueprint with them. The farther humans moved away from Africa, the narrower the genetic deck became, and that diversity matters. More genetic variation in DNA means more biological flexibility, broader immune defenses, greater adaptability, more evolutionary backup plans when environments suddenly change. Imagine the rest of humanity working from compressed files, while African ancestry still carries the original unedited operating system evolution started with. And then there is muscle structure. Many West African populations carry a higher proportion of fast-twitch muscle fibers, the fibers responsible for explosive movement and rapid force production. Some bodies are built more like endurance engines. Others launch like sports cars. Sprinting didn't create this biology. It just put a timer on it. Bone density is another hidden advantage. Multiple studies consistently taught many African-descended populations show higher average bone mineral density and stronger skeletal structure and lower osteoporosis risk. Denser framework. While some skeletons age like cheap drywall, others were built more like reinforced concrete. Your bones are not passive. They are survival architecture. Heat adaptation shaped the body too. Populations evolving near the equator developed highly efficient cooling systems and stronger thermal regulation with more active sweat glands. While one person overheats after walking outside like an old laptop running too many tabs, another body handles extreme heat like it already saw the weather forecast 5,000 years ago. Now East Asia. If African ancestry represents biological breadth, East Asian ancestry often represents efficiency. Bodies shaped over generations for precision, energy conservation, and longevity. Japan, Korea, China, and surrounding populations consistently rank among the highest life expectancies on Earth. And underneath lifestyle and diet, genetics quietly helps run the machine in the background. One famous example involves alcohol metabolism. Many East Asian populations carry variants in the ALDH2 gene, causing facial flushing and discomfort after alcohol consumption. Which sounds inconvenient, until you realize the body basically installed its own anti-overdrinking alarm system. Your genes step in like an exhausted nightclub bouncer, saying, "Absolutely not, you've had enough." certain East Asian populations also show genetic patterns associated with lower LDL cholesterol and reduced cardiovascular risk in some groups. Tiny biochemical differences repeated over decades quietly reshape lifespan. Biology does not need dramatic changes to alter an entire future. And strangely enough, even earwax reveals evolutionary adaptation. A common ABCC11 gene variant produces dry earwax instead of sticky wet earwax and also reduces body odor production, which honestly feels unfair to the rest of humanity, but evolution picked favorites and refused to explain itself. Skin aging also works differently. Thicker dermal structures and melanin distribution in many East Asian individuals often slow visible aging. The internet jokes about people aging in reverse. But underneath the memes, there is real biology helping the skin handle environmental stress more efficiently over time. Then, South Asia, one of the great genetic crossroads of human history. Populations from Africa, Central Asia, and Southeast Asia mixed there for thousands of years, creating enormous biological diversity. Now here's the paradox. South Asian populations show higher susceptibility to metabolic disorders like type 2 diabetes. But before you panic and blame your genetics for every dessert you've ever eaten, here's the twist. The same metabolic sensitivity also means the body often responds extremely quickly to positive lifestyle changes. Think of it like an overly dramatic smoke detector, slightly exhausting sometimes, but at least it notices the fire before the entire kitchen explodes. Research has also observed remarkable neurological and cognitive diversity across many South Asian populations. The brain evolves just like the rest of the body, shaped by generations of learning, adaptation, stress, and survival pressure. And dairy digestion became another evolutionary advantage. Large portions of South Asian populations developed lactase persistence, allowing adults to digest milk efficiently well into adulthood. In agricultural societies, that became an enormous nutritional advantage. Evolution looked at cows and basically said, "We're keeping those." Now, Europe. Around 8 to 10,000 years ago, humans migrated north and encountered a biological disaster. The sun practically disappeared. Winters became brutal. Endless gray skies looked like the atmosphere itself had seasonal depression. And the human body had to adapt fast. Lighter skin pigmentation spread because lighter skin produces vitamin D far more efficiently in low-light environments. And vitamin D affects everything from bone health to immune function to mood regulation. Northern European skin essentially became a biological solar panel, trying to absorb every last drop of weak sunlight the sky was willing to donate. Northern Europeans also developed some of the world's highest rates of lactase persistence. In some Scandinavian populations, adult milk digestion rates climbed close to 90%. During famines and brutal winters, being able to digest calorie-dense milk year-round became an evolutionary cheat code. Evolution sees an advantage like that and reacts faster than people sprinting toward free Costco samples. Cold adaptation shaped the body too. Fat distribution, circulation, and metabolism gradually adapted for freezing environments. Some populations evolved bodies that trap heat, like insulated winter shelters. Not glamorous. But evolution does not care about glamour, because when winter is actively trying to delete your bloodline, energy efficiency becomes a survival skill. And yes, Neanderthal DNA still lingers inside modern humans. Europeans and Asians still carry small percentages of Neanderthal ancestry. Some inherited variants appear linked to immune response and environmental adaptation, which means extinct humans are technically still helping modern bodies survive. So the next time someone calls you a Neanderthal, depending on your ancestry, that may actually be a compliment. Somewhere deep inside your DNA, a very hairy cave survivor is still helping your immune system pay rent. Then come indigenous American populations. Humans who crossed into entirely new continents and adapted to mountains, deserts, Arctic cold, and rainforests over 15 to 20,000 years ago. Isolation turned these populations into biological specialists. High-altitude Andean populations adapted to thin mountain air by increasing hemoglobin production, allowing the blood to carry more oxygen with every breath. While outsiders arrive gasping for oxygen like broken vacuum cleaners. These populations can live and work at extreme altitude, as if the mountains forgot breathing was supposed to be difficult. Arctic indigenous populations like the Inuit adapted to diets built almost entirely around marine fat and protein while maintaining metabolic stability. Modern influencers are still trying to rediscover diet trends their ancestors solved thousands of years ago without needing a podcast or a ring light. Some indigenous groups also developed highly specialized gut microbiomes shaped by generations eating native plants directly from their environment. Their digestive systems adapted alongside the land itself, improving nutrient extraction and increasing resistance to certain intestinal infections. Their biology didn't just learn the terrain, it learned how to digest it. Then the Middle East and North Africa, one of humanity's oldest survival laboratories. Populations across this region from Morocco to Iran adapted to brutal heat, water scarcity, and relentless environmental stress. Efficient kidney function, strategic sweating, and stable circulation and blood pressure helped conserve water under desert conditions where every drop mattered. The region also housed some of humanity's first giant cities: Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Levant. But crowded ancient cities also meant non-stop exposure to parasites, infections, and disease outbreaks. The populations that survived developed powerful immune response genetics, including important HLA variants still connected to immune defense today. Some populations also carry traits linked to familial Mediterranean fever. But interestingly, carrying only one copy of the gene may actually improve resistance against certain inflammatory infections. Evolution loves making deals that sound slightly illegal. And while much of the ancient world was still staring nervously at eclipses, wondering if the sky was angry, these civilizations were already building algebra, mapping stars, and practicing early medicine. Their ancestors were calculating planetary movement while everyone else was basically getting jump-scared by the moon. And then Southeast Asia, one of the most biologically fascinating regions on Earth, especially the Bajau people, often called sea nomads. These populations developed in large spleens, acting like internal oxygen reservoirs during deep dives. When they dive underwater, the spleen contracts and releases oxygen-rich red blood cells into circulation. A rare PDE10A gene variant helped shape this adaptation, turning the body into something remarkably close to natural human diving equipment. Across tropical Southeast Asia, malaria resistance variants also became common because evolution does not negotiate with tropical disease. It adapts, or it buries you. Research has also found strong visual spatial processing and fine motor precision in some Southeast Asian populations, likely shaped by generations of intricate craftsmanship, weaving, farming, and detailed handwork. Thousands of years of precision labor quietly trained the brain and hands to work together like biological engineering software. Skin adaptation mattered too. Melanin levels across much of Southeast Asia created a balance between UV protection and efficient vitamin D production under intense tropical sunlight. Their biology basically solved the sunscreen equation before sunscreen even existed. Finally, Oceania, one of the oldest and most extreme evolutionary survival stories outside Africa itself. Aboriginal Australians survived for tens of thousands of years in some of the harshest environments imaginable. Deserts that seem personally offended by human existence. Research suggests spatial awareness and environmental navigation became highly refined across generations. Navigation using stars, wind, terrain, and memory turned survival into an art form. Humans became living compasses. Their bodies also became remarkably efficient at conserving water and maintaining energy output on minimal food, a critical survival advantage in environments where resources could disappear without warning. Pacific Islander populations like Polynesians and Micronesians developed astonishing endurance and ocean navigation abilities. Their ancestors crossed massive stretches of open ocean using stars, wave patterns, and currents long before modern instruments existed. Genetic studies also show variants linked to greater muscle mass and denser skeletal structure in many Polynesian populations. Bodies built for rowing, climbing, carrying, and surviving brutal ocean conditions. And perhaps most mysterious of all, some Melanesian populations still carry Denisovan DNA from a Neanderthal species we barely understand. Scientists are still decoding parts of these inherited genes today, meaning some biological traits inside modern humans remain partially unexplained. And that may be the strangest truth of all. Your ancestry is not just ethnicity. It is accumulated survival intelligence. Every adaptation inside your body was purchased by ancestors who survived environments that should have killed them. Ice ages, droughts, parasites, mountains, oceans, disease, starvation, isolation, and somehow their biology kept finding solutions long enough for you to exist. You are not carrying random DNA. You are carrying survival strategies.